The Asari commando entered the viewing room at a brisk stride. As she had been informed by the pilot, her matriarch was looking down at the world they would soon be landing on. It was very green from their holding point outside the atmosphere. There were tan breaks in the deep jungle, indicating large rocky cliffs all over the surface. As worlds were, it wasn't like Thessia at all, but it would serve as a colony world just fine to the commando's eyes. "Do you have business with me, new blood?" the matriarch asked. The name irked the commando. She had spent the better part of a century training and preparing to be a commando. So what if this was her first active mission? She was far more deadly than any other fighter in the galaxy, other than Asari commandos. Even then, she had scored top marks in every field for the Academy. "Yes, matriarch. I am here to tell you that the team is ready and we have clearance to launch," she reported with the salute. "Tell me, Operative Alka, what you see here," the matriarch ordered, gesturing out the window towards the planet. "The mission, Matriarch Marlena. We are to escort a first contact team to the surface of this world to open up a dialogue to an as of yet unidentified alien race that landed on the planet 10 years ago, with a ship many times larger than even the Destiny Ascension," came the terse and professional reply. With a sigh, the matriarch shook her head and waved her hand again, this time bringing up her Omni tool. She put up the one useful image their recon drones had captured in the past 10 years. It had a backdrop of jungle and large rocks scattered about. The subject of the photo was what appeared to be a long, rigid quills and a wiry, mottled brown arm swinging towards the drone. "In 10 years, this is the best image we have gotten of the aliens down there. Orbital scans proved useless with the jungle interfering, so we sent down our most sophisticated drones we had. This is all we have. Let me rephrase the question, Olka. How do you feel about this mission?" "Those are drones, matriarch. We are commandos. We are ready for whatever they have to throw at us," Olka replied, with a hint of pride creeping into her tone. Matriarch Marlena gave her subordinate a sidelong look and said, "I'm sure the contact team for the Yogg thought the same thing." The reproof was clear, and Operative Alka looked down chastised. The matriarch nodded briskly and turned towards the door. "Let us get started, then." An hour later, the team of 10 commandos and their matriarch landed with their complement of the first contact team. They all knew the plan. The commando team would secure the immediate vicinity, and the contact team would exit when the all-clear was given. Then the commandos would pair up and form a circle around the contact team to set up a mobile perimeter. The contact team would proceed to transmit a friendly signal on all frequencies to try and hail the aliens. If no response was given, they would move towards the massive ship a few miles away to try and make physical contact. The matriarch would remain with the contact team at all times and would respond to any probing on the other teams quickly from her position. After the first unsuccessful transmission, the party started their slow advance towards the ship. "All teams keep in constant communication and try to stay within visual range of me and at least one other team. This jungle will make that difficult, so stay on top of it. If you get split off, let me know, and I'll stop the party," the matriarch said. Affirmatives came from all teams as they continued deeper into the jungle. The matriarch deployed 2 combat drones for extra protection for the VIPs and kept one eye on her scanners and the other on the vegetation. After about 30 minutes of murmured communication between the commando teams and the matriarch, one of the first contact team members walked up to the matriarch. "I know it's your job and all, but couldn't we move faster? Surely they would have attacked us by now, if they were going to. Maybe you and your commandos are scaring them off," she said. The matriarch neither looked aside nor broke stride as she replied, "That is not my concern, ma'am. My only concern is making sure you do not die here." The VIP rankled some at her tone, but the reputation of the commandos and matriarch Marlena in particular had her falling back in line with the rest of her team. More times went by, and something started prickling under the matriarch's skin. She had been on countless battlefields over the centuries, and had learned to trust that feeling. She called a halt to try and pinpoint the source of her unease. Watching and listening to her surroundings, all she could see was deep greens and browns of the jungle and its undergrowth, and all she could hear was the chirps and the whistles of the fauna. "What is it, Matriarch Marlena?" asked Operative Alka. "I'm not sure," she trailed off. As she flicked a glance towards the canopy, a slow dread seeped into her. The chirps and whistles were too regular and patterned. Could it be that they were already in the presence of the aliens? Could they be surrounded? "Everyone fall back to my position now. We need to regroup and form a tighter perimeter," the matriarch ordered, leaving any trace of fear out of her voice. Even as she gave the command, the jungle erupted into chaos. Alien shrieks and warbling war cries of challenge and fury came forth in a cacophony of noise. Loud cracks of what could only be rifle fire joined in. Matriarch Marlena took all of it in, even as 3 of the aliens leaped down from the canopy. They resembled bipedal birds. Their mouths were beaks that looked like they could easily snap through bone, and the back of their heads was covered in the stiff quills that the recon drone had shown. She reacted instantly and raised her own rifle to fire. Her drones opened up as she did and felled 2 of the beasts before they could touch the ground. The third, however, crashed down on one drone with enough force to shatter it. It brought its own rifle to bear and fired. Luckily, her protective shield held, and the alien hissed. It crouched and leapt at her, swinging its rifle towards it. The wicked-looking metal blades protruding from the rifle would tear through her shield's armor and flesh with ease if it made contact. Using her biotics, she increased the monster's momentum and rolled under the pounce. The alien squawked in surprise as it missed the mark, and its bladed rifle sunk into the wood of a tree all the way into the barrel. Matriarch Marlena quickly dispatched the creature and assessed it. The thing was 7 feet tall and wiry. Its skin was tan and dark brown and green, perfectly suited to camouflage it in the jungle. Judging by how deep into the wood the bladed rifle had sunk, its strength was far beyond what its appearance suggested. While she took all this in, she also listened to the reports of her commander team. All positions had been attacked at the same time. Even the iron discipline of the commandos had been broken by these creatures, and everyone was panicking. The contact team was cowering in fear. One of their number was down, felled by a shot from one of the rifles. "Everyone, back to the landing zone. We need to get out of here," she shouted. Only a few of the groups responded, but that wasn't her priority. She needed to get the VIPs to safety. She ran to them and started herding them back the way they had came. She called back her drones from her Omni tool and set them to shoot anything that moved that didn't have a friendly tag. She also put up a biotic barrier to protect from the now steady barrage of bullets from the jungle. She finally got the contact team up and moving at a quick pace and started back towards safety. Commando Alka had never imagined it would be like this. They had been taken completely by surprise. Only the matriarch's order to regroup had saved them. Had it not come when it did, her and her partner would have been slain by the alien that had burst from the foliage not 10 feet from them. The creature had leapt from concealment, only to be gunned down by both Asari commandos. Alka had never seen something so fast, but her training had served her well. She was not so fortunate with the next beast. It dropped from above with an avian shriek between the 2 Asari. Using the butt end of its rifle, it smashed Alka against a tree and spun with blinding speed to stab her partner in the side. Only the quick use of a biotic push from the commando saved her life. The blade only penetrated a few inches before the creature went flying. Alka heaved herself up dazed. She stumbled to her partner, who was clutching her side. A blow to the head when she had hit the tree had her seeing stars, and she couldn't for the life of her remember the other Asari's name. But she got one hand under her shoulder and said, "We need to go. Move. Get back to the ship. Matriarch Marlena has issued a fallback order. She must have." The wounded Asari nodded affirmative, and with a grimace they began to retreat. Together they managed a biotic field to protect them, but even then it was barely enough. The volume of fire increased, and more aliens leapt from the jungle to engage in hand-to-hand combat. Only the precise shooting of both Asari kept them at bay. They couldn't keep the pace they had started with, not with the attacks increasing and the blood loss of her partner. With a sudden pop, the field went down and her partner sagged. She had passed out. Alka staggered and fell. Seeing weakness, 7 of the brutes burst forth. It was too much. Even her commando training couldn't stop the sudden terror of seeing death descend upon her. She threw up her hands to try and shield herself. She expected the sudden bite of those monstrous bladed rifles, but it didn't come. What did come was the sound of Asari rifle fire and biotic pulses. Alka lowered her arms to see the matriarch running towards her, shooting at targets Alka couldn't see. Matriarch Marlena reached her in moments and hauled her to her feet. It appeared that the matriarch was talking to her, but she couldn't understand what she was saying. A sudden slap across the cheek stunned her, and everything came rushing back. The gunfire, the alien shrieks. "Alka, are you all right?" the matriarch repeated. For the first time, Alka saw panic in the matriarch's eyes, not because of the ambush or the firefight happening all around, but because of her. The matriarch, no, her mother, had come to rescue her daughter at the risk of the mission. Alka nodded and said quietly, "Yes, mother." A look of relief washed over Marlena as she heard the words. "Good. Now we need to get out of here. The contact team is on board the ship. It's not far." The matriarch gave Alka her pistol and lifted the unconscious Asari between them. Their progress was agonizingly slow, and the aliens had stopped leaping at them, but would take quick pot shots from cover. Their return fire and shields kept them alive long enough to reach the clearing where they had landed. Suddenly all the gunfire from the aliens stopped. A loud shriek from above was their only indication before the largest of all the aliens they had seen came crashing down on top of them. Marlena shoved the other 2 towards the ship and dove back. She had barely saved all of them, but had lost her weapons in the process. The big brute hissed and opened its beak wide. What looked to be Asari blood dripped from those gaping jaws. Marlena rose to a fighting crouch and engaged her Omni-Blade. Alka started dragging the fallen Asari commando back towards the ship, but looked back at her mother in fear. The beast was easily 8 feet tall, and she could see its toned muscles ripple through even its leathery hide. "Fight me, creature!" Marlena yelled in challenge. The matriarch glanced past the beast towards Alka and gave her a slight nod. Alka understood and gathered her strongest biotic pulse and let it loose at the alien's back. Somehow the creature sensed it and whirled to the side. In the same motion it hurled what appeared to be some kind of cleaver at Alka. The blade bit deep into her hip and she screamed. Marlena howled in fury and used a biotic charge to close the gap with what she could only guess was the leader of these savages. The beast whirled again and brought up a large bladed metal sword with a curved spike at the top. It took the full force of the biotic charge and stopped it cold. With the metal sword and the Omni-Blade locked together, the alien's jaws opened and it hissed again. The smell of blood and rancid meat washed over her as she was forced to one knee by the monstrous strength of her opponent. The thing was toying with her. Marlena snarled and brought her hand up with a biotic shove. The alien couldn't entirely avoid it this time, even with its unnatural speed and reflexes. It caught the alien on the shoulder and spun him away. Marlena again used a biotic charge, but this time not to engage, but for her to get to her daughter and the wounded Asari. The alien leader shrieked and ran towards her. When it was 20 feet away, he leapt. Such a jump seemed impossible, but the beast flew towards them with its swords raised. Marlena raised her arm and engaged her Omni-Tool's flamethrower. A gout of fire rushed towards the alien. With a sinuous twist, the creature avoided the worst of the attack, but was still scorched on the side. It came down rolling towards the side. Marlena followed its motion with the flame, but the beast was quick and bounded up and out of its range. Marlena had bought them enough time to drag the 2 wounded Asari aboard the landing craft. As soon as the doors had closed, the shuttle rose from the planet and returned to space. The last thing the matriarch saw before the doors closed was the bodies of 8 elite Asari commandos being brought to the leader of the aliens and being hacked apart.